Can anyone beat Carlos?
Alcaraz just too good.
Maybe even catch Djokovic.
A tennis expert just went on live TV show and said something that should be impossible. Something that breaks every rule we know about this sport. He looked into the camera and said,
Sinner wasn't allowed to reach his levels, and
I'm convinced Carlos Alcaraz is going to have the most Grand Slams in history.
Alcaraz really just explosive, so aggressive, so consistent.
More than Djokovic, more than Federer, more than Nadal. And here's the thing that'll blow your mind. He's not alone. 4 American tennis legends sat down for a podcast. They were asked who's going to reach 25 Grand Slams first, Novak Djokovic or Carlos Alcaraz. And all 4 of them picked Alcaraz.
My instinct is to say Alcaraz.
Alcaraz deserves all the plaudits.
Not 3 out of 4, all of them. One of them even said, that is terrifying to say.
Alcaraz had to struggle his way back from what seemed like an impossible position of cramping.
Why terrifying? Because they're betting against the greatest player who's ever lived. And they're doing it with confidence. What do these experts know that the rest of us are missing? Buckle up, because the evidence is about to shake everything you thought you knew about tennis. Let me set the scene for you. February 1st, 2026, Melbourne, Australia, Rod Laver Arena is packed. On one side of the net, you've got Novak Djokovic, 38 years old, 24 Grand Slams, chasing history. He's going for his record-breaking 25th major. And get this, he's never lost an Australian Open final. 10 times he walked into that final, 10 times he walked out as champion. This is his kingdom. But on the other side, Carlos Alcaraz, 22 years old, trying to become the youngest man in history to complete the career Grand Slam. The match starts and Djokovic looks unstoppable. He wins the first set in 33 minutes, dominates every rally. It's like watching a masterclass. Everyone's thinking, here we go again, the king stays king. But then something changes, Alcaraz flips a switch. He starts hitting shots that shouldn't be physically possible. Drop shots from the baseline. Passing shots at full sprint. He's moving Djokovic around the court like a puppet. And when the final point lands, Djokovic's unbeaten streak at the Australian Open final is over. First loss in 11 finals. But here's the stat that nobody's talking about. Alcaraz is now 22 years and 272 days old. He has 7 Grand Slams. Want to know how many Djokovic had at that age? 0. Nadal? 2. Federer? 4. Alcaraz isn't just good for his age. He's faster than the big 3 ever were. So that brings us to the moment that started this whole conversation. A guy named Brett Phillips. He's a tennis expert on a show called The First Serve in Australia. He goes on a Sen 1170s morning radio show right after Alcaraz wins. And the host asks him a simple question. Do you think Alcaraz can overtake Djokovic's Grand Slam record? Now, normally, experts hedge. They say things like, maybe, or it's possible, or we'll see. Not this time. Brett Phillips looks dead into the microphone and says, it might be early to crow, but I'm convinced he is going to have the most Grand Slams from what I'm seeing. Convinced, not hopeful, not optimistic, convinced. He keeps going. If I'm looking at the competition around Carlos, if we're looking at the next decade, Jannik Sinner is his greatest rival, and there's a bit of daylight at the moment. There is a fair gap to the rest, and he's only going to get better. That's the scary part. He's not even hit his peak yet, and he's got eyes for the records. Wait, hold up. He's not even at his peak? 7 Grand Slams and he's still got another level to reach? That's not just bold, that's nuclear. And what happened next would shock everyone even more. Because Brett Phillips wasn't some random guy throwing out hot takes. This was a calculated opinion. And it turns out, other legends in tennis were thinking the exact same thing. Enter the Nothing Major podcast. It's run by 4 former American tennis stars, John Isner, Sam Querrey, Steve Johnson, and Jack Sock. These aren't commentators who never played. Isner was a Wimbledon finalist. Querrey made multiple Grand Slam quarters. Johnson cracked the top 20. Sock won Olympic gold. They know tennis at the highest level. So they're recording an episode and the topic comes up, who's going to reach 25 Grand Slams first, Djokovic, Alcaraz, or Sinner? Steve Johnson goes first. He doesn't even hesitate. I think it's Carlos. I am taking Carlos, then Sinner, then Novak. That is terrifying to say. Sam Querrey jumps in immediately. I'm taking Carlos too, but yeah, no disrespect to Novak. Then Jack Sock weighs in. I think I am the same exact lineup. I think Carlos and Sinner is like 50-50 for me, and then Novak is third on that, which is scary to say. 3 out of 3, all picking Alcaraz. But here's where it gets really interesting. John Isner is the last one to speak, and Isner's opinion matters because he's played Djokovic 12 times in his career. He knows what it's like to stand across the net from greatness. He knows Djokovic's game inside and out. So when Isner talks, people listen, and what he says next is wild. I keep going back. I was team Sinner before the US Open, and now after the US Open, I'm team Alcaraz. It could flip. But Novak said it himself. He said that it's hard, late in the slam, to beat these two players in particular in 3 out of 5. Wait, did you catch that? Even Djokovic admitted it. Djokovic, the guy with 24 majors, the guy who's beaten everyone, even he said it's hard to beat Alcaraz and Sinner in best-of-5 matches late in Grand Slams. That's not trash talk, that's not disrespect, that's the GOAT acknowledging reality. 4 tennis legends, all of them picking Alcaraz to break Djokovic's record before Djokovic even hits 25. And they kept using the same word, terrifying. Why? Because they're betting against the guy who rewrote the history books. But the math behind their prediction? That's where things get absolutely insane. Alright, let's break down the numbers because this is where it stops being opinion and starts being math. Novak Djokovic currently has 24 Grand Slams. Carlos Alcaraz has 7. That's a 17 slam gap. 17. On the surface, that sounds impossible to overcome, right? Wrong. Here's why. Alcaraz is 22 years old. Let's say he plays until he's 31. That's 9 more years. If he averages just 2 Grand Slams per year, he finishes with 25 slams and breaks Djokovic's record. 2 per year. That might sound like a lot, but check this out. Over the last 2 years, Alcaraz and Sinner have won 9 consecutive Grand Slams between them. 9. That means for 2 straight years, if your name wasn't Alcaraz or Sinner, you didn't win a major. 0. Alcaraz himself has already won multiple slams in the same year twice. In 2024, he won the French Open and Wimbledon back-to-back. In 2025, he won the French Open and US Open. The guy is built for this grind. But here's the kicker that nobody saw coming. Brett Phillips said something on that Australian radio show that should make everyone pause. He said, "He's not even hit his peak yet. That's the scary part." Think about what that means. 7 Grand Slams. Youngest career Grand Slam winner in history, beaten Djokovic 4 times in a row, and he hasn't peaked. Tennis players typically hit their prime around 25 to 28 years old. Alcaraz is 22. He's got 3 to 6 years before he even reaches his absolute best tennis. And he's already dominating the sport. The math isn't just possible, it's probable. But Alcaraz isn't just winning because of talent. There's something else going on here that separates him from everyone else. Let's talk about something controversial. A Yahoo Sports analyst wrote an article after the Australian Open final that made the entire tennis world explode. He said, and I quote, "Carlos Alcaraz is the most gifted person who has ever held a racket. Not one of the best, not top 5, the most gifted." He compared watching Alcaraz to watching Michael Jordan in 1992, Tiger Woods in 2000, Secretariat in 1973. Those aren't just athletes. Those are generational talents who redefined what was possible in their sports. And here's why that comparison actually makes sense. Alcaraz has Roger Federer's creativity. The guy hits shots that look like they came out of a video game, drop shots from impossible angles, tweeners in Grand Slam finals, between the legs winners while running full speed. Then you add Rafael Nadal's competitive fire. Alcaraz refuses to lose. Doesn't matter if he's cramping, doesn't matter if he's vomiting. He'll claw his way back from the edge. And on top of that, he's got Novak Djokovic's technical mastery, his movement, his flexibility, his ability to turn defense into offense in one shot. It's like someone took the best parts of the big 3 and combined them into one player. But what happened next proved his mental game is even more dangerous. Australian Open 2026, semifinals, Carlos Alcaraz versus Alexander Zverev. And this match turned into an absolute war. 5 hours and 27 minutes, the longest semifinal in Australian Open history. And it wasn't just long, it was brutal. Somewhere around the fourth set, Alcaraz starts cramping. His legs are locking up, he can barely move, then it gets worse. He vomits on the court, multiple times. The cameras catch him bent over, looking completely done. Zverev is serving for the match in the fifth set. Everyone watching thinks it's over. Alcaraz is cooked. But then something clicks. Alcaraz digs deeper than anyone thought possible. He breaks Zverev's serve, holds his own, breaks again, and wins the match 7-5 in the fifth. The crowd goes insane. But here's the thing nobody's talking about. 48 hours later, Alcaraz walks into the final against Djokovic, the greatest player of all time. After playing the longest semifinal in tournament history, after cramping and vomiting, and what does he do? He destroys Djokovic, wins in 4 sets. That's not just physical, that's mental toughness at a level we rarely see. But there's more to this story. Right before the Australian Open, Alcaraz made a decision that shocked the tennis world. He split with Juan Carlos Ferrero. Now, if you don't follow tennis closely, you might not understand how big that is. Ferrero wasn't just Alcaraz's coach, he was like a second father. Ferrero had been in Alcaraz's corner since he was a kid, guided him through every big moment, every major win, every tough loss. And now, right before the biggest tournament of his career, they part ways. Most players would crumble under that kind of emotional weight. The stability's gone. The support system is different. But Alcaraz? He goes to Australia and plays the best tennis of his life, wins the whole thing, completes the career Grand Slam at 22. That tells you everything you need to know about his mindset. This isn't a kid who needs his hand held. This is a champion who rises to the occasion no matter what. And what the experts revealed about Djokovic's situation made the whole story even more dramatic. Now let's talk about the other side of this story, Novak Djokovic, the GOAT. 24 Grand Slams, most weeks at world number 1 in history, career Golden Slam. Every record you can think of, he owns it, and nobody's trying to diminish that. John Isner said it perfectly. When anyone talks about the greatest athletes of all time, if Novak's not on your Mount Rushmore, you're insane. But here's the stat that everyone's avoiding. Djokovic is 38 years old, and he hasn't won a Grand Slam since the 2023 US Open. That's over 2 years. 2 years without a major title. In that same time, Alcaraz has won 4 slams. Djokovic has now lost 4 consecutive matches to Alcaraz. 4. And 3 of those losses, Grand Slam finals, Wimbledon 2023, Wimbledon 2024, Australian Open 2026, plus the US Open 2025 semi-final, where Alcaraz beat him in straight sets. Even Djokovic himself admitted it in a press conference. He said, "It's hard late in the slam to beat these 2 players in particular in 3 out of 5. That's not an excuse. That's just reality." But what Jack Sock said next was absolutely brutal. After the Australian Open final, the Nothing Major podcast crew got together to break down what happened. And Jack Sock made a prediction that nobody wanted to hear. He said, "I don't think Djokovic is making another final this year, in my opinion." Sam Querrey nodded. He's been Mr. Australian Open throughout his career, but I don't know if a 39-year-old Novak will have the same juice at a French Open trying to grind out 5 sets against these young bucks. That's harsh, but it's honest, because the physical reality is unavoidable. Recovery at 38 is not the same as recovery at 22. Djokovic can still play elite tennis. He proved that by beating Jannik Sinner in the semifinals. But can he do it consistently over 2 weeks? Against Alcaraz and Sinner? That's a different question. And the numbers tell a story that's hard to ignore. Since the 2023 US Open, Djokovic has reached 4 Grand Slam semifinals. He's lost all 4, twice to Sinner, twice to Alcaraz. Father Time is undefeated, and Alcaraz, he's just getting started. But there's one more factor that makes this even more complicated. Here's the thing that makes Alcaraz's path to breaking records even more insane. He's not just competing against Djokovic's legacy, He's competing against Jannik Sinner right now. And Sinner is also a multi-Grand Slam champion, also world number 2, also capable of winning any tournament he enters. So you'd think that would slow Alcaraz down, right? Wrong. Over the last 2 years, Alcaraz and Sinner have met in 7 tournament finals. 7. And between the two of them, they've won the last 9 Grand Slams, 9 consecutive majors. Nobody else has even gotten close. Brett Phillips said it best. Jannik Sinner is his greatest rival, and there's a bit of daylight at the moment. There is a fair gap to the rest. Translation? Even when Alcaraz and Sinner are battling each other, they're still so far ahead of everyone else that it doesn't matter. If Alcaraz doesn't win a slam, Sinner usually does, which means the old guard, Djokovic, Medvedev, Zverev, they're locked out. And as Djokovic ages and his window narrows, Alcaraz and Sinner are just entering their prime years. The dominance isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. But here's what nobody's saying out loud. Let's be crystal clear about something. Saying all of this does not disrespect Novak Djokovic. Not even a little bit. Djokovic is the greatest tennis player in history. Period. 24 Grand Slams, 428 weeks at world number 1, Olympic gold, career Golden Slam, Davis Cup, ATP Finals. He's done things that seemed impossible. He's beaten everyone. He's won everywhere. He's the GOAT and nothing changes that. But tennis has always had generational shifts. Pete Sampras dominated the 90s, then Roger Federer showed up and redefined elegance. Then Rafael Nadal brought a level of intensity nobody had seen. Then Djokovic came along and combined everything. It's the natural evolution of the sport. And right now we're watching the next chapter unfold in real time. Carlos Alcaraz isn't trying to erase Djokovic's legacy, he's trying to build his own. And based on what the experts are saying, based on the math, based on the trajectory, it's not a matter of if Alcaraz breaks Djokovic's records. It's a matter of when. And what happens next could change tennis forever. Think about what we just laid out. 7 Grand Slams at 22 years old. Youngest career Grand Slam winner in history. 4 consecutive wins over Djokovic. Expert after expert, people who've played at the highest level, unanimously picking him to surpass the greatest player ever. Brett Phillips saying he's convinced. John Eisner calling it terrifying, but still picking Alcaraz. The math showing that 2 slams per year gets him to 25 by age 31. And he hasn't even hit his peak yet. Every piece of evidence points in the same direction. Novak Djokovic built an empire. He rewrote the record books. He proved everyone wrong time and time again. But Carlos Alcaraz? He's coming for every single brick in that empire. And the scary part? He's got time on his side, talent on his side, and the experts on his side. The records will fall. It's just a question of how many. And how fast. So here's my question for you. Do you think Alcaraz is really going to break all of Djokovic's records? Or are the experts getting way ahead of themselves? Is this hype or is this destiny? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this debate is just heating up. And if you want to stay updated on every twist and turn as this story unfolds, because trust me, it's far from over, hit that subscribe button. Tennis history is being written right now, and you don't want to miss a single moment.